Hello, so following the Carenado update to various aircraft this week, we're having a look at the Carenado Piper Arrow in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we're going to have a quick look around it. I don't think they've changed anything on the outside. It's going to be purely to do with avionics and flight modelling, I guess, the flight model itself. So we'll go and get inside. Let's just take the yoke off momentarily while we get it up and running. So check the fuel shut-off valve. It's on the left tank at the moment. We go and put the mixture to rich. We go and turn on the battery master switch, which switches lots of things on around the airplane, which is interesting, if nothing else. We'll go and turn on, there isn't a beacon light. I've been looking at this, and although there is a light bulb, oh, it's actually on now. So I'm guessing it's this strobe light. So if we turn that off, does that go off? Yeah. So instead of having a beacon switch, it just has the strobe. But if you turn it off and on, it then doesn't work. So there's a bug. I'm sorry to be ripping a new one out of this instantly. I didn't expect this to go so well. So yeah, anyway, let's go and at least get the engine up and running, shall we? So there's a key down here. We've got the battery master on. We've got the mixture on rich. We'll crack the throttle open and we have an engine running. So we'll run it up to 1000 RPM. Turn the alternator on. We'll turn the nav lights on now. Turn the that's a good point. Now we've got the alternator on. We still haven't got the light back, so that appears to break it. So let's try cycling that again. So if we say fin strobe, that's fine. If we just say strobe light, okay, so it seems to be it's in the wrong state to begin with. Landing lights on. We didn't need the fuel pump to start. It's not going to make any difference to us now. Turn the pitot heat on. We're about to taxi out to the runway anyway. Turn the radio master switch on, and it's already booted up, which is rather mysterious. Usually you get a bit of a boot up sequence on these things, but apparently not on this one. Turn the transponder on. These were already on. Oh, that's interesting. Let's just go and have a look at the switch on that. So this is saying off, but it's actually on. Oh no, it's just the way the switch is modelled. Okay. So yeah, we're just having a look to see, you know, what's working, what isn't really. Let's put the yoke back in place, and let's take it for a fly, shall we? So we'll put the camera back in the normal position. We're at Boonville in the US, by the way. The weather seems to just be holding off for us at the moment. So come off the parking brake. It's quite a short runway here, so we will go for first stage of flaps for takeoff. Just going to cut across the grass here. Hope nobody will notice. So I guess what I'm looking for here is maybe improved flight dynamics, and we'll have a little play with the autopilot to see how it descends to, or how it responds to changes. So there's not much in the way of wind going on today at Boonville, which is nice. So if we go full throttle, do we get the opportunity to blow the engine? It does go beyond the yellow line on the RPM, so that's kind of interesting. So rotate at 60 knots, we're in the air. As we look outside, we can raise the undercarriage. It's all nicely modelled, but it was before, to be honest. It felt very nice on the ground though. I can't remember if it was that good before. It was very easy to hold against any crosswind on the runway. So it's moving around a fair bit with the turbulence. So what we'll do is just a climbing turn, just continuing at 1,000 feet a minute because it can basically. I'm going to come off the throttle a little bit. Just anxious of looking at this RPM, but manifold pressure, I don't think we can go beyond the end of the gauge, so it's not really a concern. That seems a little bit, I don't know, we'd have to have a look at a real one, I guess, running at full throttle at no more than a couple of thousand feet off the ground to see what the manifold pressure comes out at. But I think that's typical of Carenado, that you typically just can't blow the engine on them. Okay. So let's come back to 75% throttle. Oh, the click spots are quite fiddly. So that's interesting. Look, it's holding on to 100 knots, still in the climb. Okay, it's only a couple of hundred feet a minute now, but just want to see how it reacts to these changes. So let's go full speed on the propeller again. So it actually pushes it beyond the yellow line now. That's interesting. Okay, we turn around in the valley and we'll line ourselves up, switch the autopilot on and see how it reacts. We'll also go and turn this into VOR mode and go and tune in 112.3, which is the local VOR station. So you can see it's lit up on the HSI. So okay, so let's level out. Let's move the heading bug to the direction we're going. Go heading mode on the autopilot. Let's just trim the plane out now. Now we've finished climbing, flaps up. And altitude hold will do, and let's go and turn on the autopilot master switch. So it's doing it, and the various modes are indicated here. So if we find out the course to the VOR from us, it's about 45 degrees or 50 degrees. Okay, so let's go nav mode, and what's it going to do? So it will actually turn towards the VOR. It won't just deal with intercepts, which is interesting. Half the reason I did that was to see if it would continue going the direction it was going. Quite often, I'm not sure if this does it in the real thing, but quite often they're not this clever that they won't turn to an intercept course if they're not already on one. Usually they'll just capture and straighten up. Okay, what about vertical speed mode? So if we go VS and go up to 10, which is 1,000 feet a minute, so it holds that easily enough. Yeah, it's all working nicely, isn't it? Okay, let's come off the autopilot. We've proven that that works. We're going to come back round in the valley and go for an approach and see how it handles on the runway. Oh, sorry, on finals. So we'll do this approach fairly sensibly, just to see how it reacts to a typical approach. So we're coming over around the farm down here and circle in. So there's the airfield. How are we doing for airspeed? We're good. So we'll use the undercarriage as our primary source of drag. If we lift the nose gently, we can then extend the flaps. Quite a bit of turbulence around today. So let's get it into the right kind of vertical positioning and then use the throttle as you typically would to control descent rate. So we'll get the attitude correct first. A little bit high still, let's just get lower. Okay. It's about right, isn't it? It's in the ballpark for a typical approach. A little bit high, maybe. There's no lights here at Boonville to help us, so we have to do this visually. So it seems very controllable, maybe a bit more realistic than it used to be. Certainly it moves around a lot more than the Carenados typically have in the past. So maybe that's what they're working through all their aeroplanes doing. It's making them a little bit higher fidelity in terms of the flight model. Maybe to take account of, you know, all the nice features that now exist in the simulator. So idle. Let's just hold it off the runway, see how it behaves. It was very, very easy to get down. So yeah, that's interesting. So the Piper Arrow from Carenado is very, very easy to fly. But it does move around as you would expect an aeroplane to move around. I don't think it's quite up there with the Just Flight arrows, but it's still very good. And considering this is an update to one of the oldest planes that Carenado made for the sim, it's a welcome update. Okay, I'm not going to go and taxi all the way back down. Last thing you want is me waffling on for the next couple of minutes. So there we go. It's worth pointing out, along with the others, this one now uses the flight simulator avatars. I did find a little bit of a bug that if you open the tablet and say I want to show the co-pilot, obviously they appear even if you have gone into the payload and zeroed out their weight, which normally would make them disappear, so they haven't hooked that together in the programming. But other than that, so there's a couple of little things with the power switches, which are strange. There's a couple of things to do, like with the tablet, which are obviously not quite there, but otherwise it's really good. And given how reasonably priced the Carenado aircraft are, you can't really complain, can you? And they're very good. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that. So the Piper Arrow has been updated from Carenado, so if you've got it, it's well worth taking it up for another run and trying it out again. Okay, I'll see you again soon.